GearNetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
What's up, rockers? This is the rockstar Robbie Vegas, professional wrestler and host of the All Bets Are Off podcast. But right now, you're listening to the Fantasy Football Bros podcast. So take it away, Chazz.
Here we go. Hey, everything on three. Number three. 1 on 1. Oh, 1 on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, next up to that. Eyes on three. Everything on 3 and 1. Everything.
You are now listening to the Fantasy Football Bros podcast.
So smoky. That was not about that.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Football Bros podcast. It's your boys.
All I do is win, no matter what.
Chazz, and I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. J Coleman. J Coleman, what's up, dog?
What's going on, boys?
And actually here for the start of it, we have got the no nickname, no nonsense.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Yes. You made it.
They think you were a wrestling fan with all your wrestling drops.
Finally made
right?
it time.
We made it on time.
So y'all can see in my studio my ugly-ass wallpaper. How's it looking?
Fantastic.
Great.
There's a reason I would record in my living room and not my studio, and this is why. But whatever, we're here. We are here. We are live on Twitch. So we'll make sure everyone's there. I'm getting logged in myself. I know this is great fucking radio right now. But again, everybody, if you're looking into wanting to hang out with us live, you can find us at the Chazzcast on Twitch. And on Wednesday nights, about 10 o'clock, and you can hang out with us and talk about it. So we are here. I'm just trying to get there so I can chat with people, because hopefully people chat. So how are you guys doing today? Adam, what is the weather like out by you?
Well, today got up to about 94 when the sun was out. And then we had a little cloud cover. Kind of cooled it down a little bit, but it's been nice and sunny down here in the old Nashville.
The Nashville. Jay, what about you?
It's hot as fuck.
Yeah, and that you can see on my new camera or my new setup here, I'm so sweaty, but I work in a restaurant, guys. I don't give a fuck what y'all think. There we go. So now I'm in the chat, too. All right. Okay. And it sounds good. All right, so we're in the chat now. We are here to talk about the Western divisions, because that is the is my face all washed out?
You look very bright.
Now it is, but
Hang on. What about
You look very bright.
we're new stuff. That okay. How about just turn this off? Is that better?
You're still very bright.
We're learning. New studio.
that made it worse.
Yeah.
Why is it making it
yep.
worse?
That's worse.
Shouldn't be making it worse. This is better. We're good now, right?
It's okay.
Yeah, we're good.
For some reason, the light is right on the camera, and it seems to be better than on my face because I'm greasy, Italian, nasty, sweaty. So we're talking about the Western divisions because the Western Division guys, if you didn't know, they are
Reigning, defending, undisputed.
They are the reigning, defending, undisputed conference champions on each side, right?
Yes, sir.
So it all West Super Bowl.
hard.
Even though, Kansas City is not even near the West at all. But whatever.
They're Midwest.
Sure, I'll give them Midwest.
Midwest.
Ish.
That's probably more accurate.
Yeah.
They're also mid. Oh.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. Uh-oh.
Kermit the Frog here.
Sorry, Patrick. All right.
Oh, that drop will never get old.
And the first thing in the chat is somebody making fun of my wallpaper. Dave, go fuck yourself.
Well, we knew this would happen.
This is why I avoided it for so long. See, Dave, now you can see why it took me so long. So we are breaking down we're going on Bleacher Report for what they did for their off-season grades. Now, this ain't going to include all the drafts or the draft picks, but we just talked about the draft picks over the last 2 weeks, so who needs to know? And Dave likes my wallpaper. Thanks, Dave. You can record Let's Talk Nerdy in here if you'd like. So we're going to start with, because it's in alphabetical order, we are going to start with...
Hey there, little fella.
...in the Arizona Cardinals. So, Jay, let's hear about their key additions.
Key additions, center Evan Brown, defensive line Bila Nichols, defensive tackle Justin Jones, CB Sean Murphy Bunting, QB Desmond Ritter, OT Jonah Williams, and LD Mac Wilson.
Okay, so, I mean, we all know the name Desmond Ritter, of course.
Yeah.
Desmond Ritter's
coming over from Atlanta.
Well, running quarterback, backup Kyler, whatever, it works. But Sean Murphy Bunting, I feel, is a great ad.
Yeah.
For them. He's a very underrated corner.
Yeah, he's definitely an underrated cornerback, but yeah, that's a good signing for them. And believe me, they need a lot of help.
We say that and watch them make the fucking playoffs.
I know. I say that now.
Adam, you got it pulled up. What are their key losses?
Key losses, the biggest one, in my opinion, is their wide receiver, Marquise Brown.
Hollywood
Brown, defensive tackle, Leaky Fotu, Antonio Hamilton, DJ Humphreys, Rondale Moore, Ezekiel Turner, and linebacker.
Rondale Moore, too, the departure.
Yeah,
That's,
couple of key ones there. I mean, really, they do hit the word key. Hollywood and Rondale, like, that pretty much depleted their receiving core. They did draft Marvin Harrison, so you can't replace both of these guys, right? So you're only getting one dynamic player back, and not that Rondale Moore has been stunning, but
who's had a better NFL career, Rondale Moore or what's that shitty guy from the Chiefs that went to the Jets and then went back to the Chiefs?
Shit, I know who you're talking about.
Hardman.
Who it is? Oh, McCole Hardman. Yeah.
Who's had the better career? Because they're like the same player. Oh, they're so fast.
It's got to be Rondale Moore, right? I feel like Hardman really didn't do anything in his career, but he's just a guy.
These guys are so fast.
I don't know.
Yep.
Speed wins, guys. You didn't know that? That's why they drafted Xavier Worthy.
We're not on the Chiefs yet, though. So it says here on the Bleacher Report for their team needs, the number one was wide receiver, and they certainly attacked that in the draft. Arizona, no. I think they're a touch underrated. Their defense played pretty good last year. Kyler, he's better than we give him credit for. James Conner was running good. Now they got a bona fide. If this kid could step in and be a top 10 to 15 talent-wise receiver in the NFL. So, I think they could be better than people give it credit for. I don't know how, and this is just football talk in general. I'm not talking about fantasy per se. I think it's a bit of, obviously the Niners are one thing, but I think it's a bit of a weak division. Last year, the year prior, didn't Seattle win it? So who's trash?
Yeah, with Geno.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I mean. I'm like, you got a class of the thing. I think the Rams are coming up, and I think people aren't giving up much credit to. I think the Rams' offense is coming up. Their defense is just. We'll get there.
Right. I don't know. The Cardinals aren't great. They only won 4 games last year. So.
No, true, but they didn't have Kyler.
No, but they didn't have Kyler.
They're not going to have Kyler every year, though. So,
Well, you for half the year they'll have him.
Yeah, exactly.
When Call of Duty comes out, you won't see him for a month and a half.
Well, this one might be 2 months because it's like 300 gigs of video games. So
right.
Didn't know that. All right, so we got some people in the chat now looking at it. All right. Oh, I just realized we can look at the Twitch chat right on our studio here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just figured that out?
Yeah, I never knew that.
Can you answer it?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
We're learning, folks. We're learning here.
Oh, this is sick.
One big thing, though, that we're sleeping on too, with before we move on, with Arizona, is they've got almost $30 million in cap space, so they can do some stuff over the next couple years. So, but their offseason grade was a C-, and of course, they didn't do much except draft an amazing receiver. But
right,
all right. So we're gonna do this in order. It's a little disjointed here on the way we're looking at it. So just give me a second to find the next NFC West. It goes by alphabetically, guys. So
well, who would that be? So we got
Kansas City Chiefs, right? No, that's AFC.
No, that's AFC.
Vegas Raiders.
Nope,
that's
there, buddy.
That's
also AFC.
Chargers. That's AFC. They're all in order. Look at that. The Rams. So we're talking about the Rams. So go down a little bit. We're going to talk about the Rams.
Here we go.
So there, Jay. I didn't even know this first one, Jay. By the way, that's
me neither.
So why don't you tell us about their key additions?
Chaz's favorite QB, Jimmy G.
That's Rico's favorite QB.
Guard
Jimmy
Jonah
G.
Jackson, safety Cameron Curl, safety Darius William, and CB Trey White.
I had to put that in there. Oh man, they lost Carson Wentz. Oh, son of a bitch. Losing Carson Wentz and adding Jimmy Garoppolo might be a downgrade. It might be a downgrade.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was looking at this list and I go, wait a minute. Their key loss is Carson Wentz, but the key addition is Jimmy G.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but why don't you tell us about their key losses, Adam? Skip that first one though.
Key losses. Skip the first one.
Yeah, because we'll talk about it at the end.
Oh, okay. Jordan Fuller, Coleman Shelton, nobody cares. QB Carson Wentz, and Jonah Williams, defensive lineman. Honestly, still think they're going to be okay.
Yeah, they'll be fine. But the problem is
the biggest loss, though.
Is Coleman Shelton related at all?
No.
No. Okay, just making sure. Of course, the biggest loss we need to talk about is the best defensive player of our generation in Aaron Donald retiring.
Sure.
I mean, man is a monster. What is he? 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, and he only played for 10 years. Retired young. It's kind of like
how old?
He's still 10 years. 10 years though. 10 years. That's young.
Well, when you're as dominant as he is, he got beat up a lot. So,
and when you got all that money, you don't need to make anymore. So,
Dave's calling for Trey White to step up and be a beast. What's up, James? We see you out there in the chat, James. So like they kind of like there's no way they can be better as a team overall because they lost their best player. You know what I mean? So like not the end of the world for them, but like you lost your best player. That's hard to get over. You lost the best defensive player in the NFL. That sucks. You know, but
that's a tough one.
Well, they lost their best defensive player, who they still got to pay because he retired under contract, I believe.
Yeah,
and they're already got like no cap room. So I mean, it's gonna be tough.
Sure. Well,
I think adding Trey White was good, though. Adding Trey White was good. I mean, with incentive pay, he's not making a ton. Maybe if incentive pay he makes more, but that means he's playing well. I mean, the guy was a stud. He just keeps getting hurt. Even when he went down against Miami, he was still played well. But
also you got to factor in like he was fucked up after the first injury, and then to finally make it back and get his head right, and then for this to happen, we have no idea what he's going to be like.
He could be totally shot. Dave wants to know the over/under on if Aaron Donald will come out of retirement after OTAs. I'm going to say no. I just feel like he's done. I mean, what is he going to come back to this team for? I mean, I know they have some pieces here and there. This team's not winning the Super Bowl, so what is he going to come back for? You know?
I mean, I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl either. But I don't know. Sometimes you get the guy that's like, oh, I really missed the game. But
I think if he's like that, he wouldn't have retired in the first place.
Yeah, maybe. I can see the Rams. I don't know. It's tough to say if they're going to make a run or not. It all depends on all the moving pieces. If Stafford stays healthy, if Kupp stays healthy, and these guys are no young guys anymore. So and
Kyron too. Kyron's been hurt every year too.
He's only had 1 year.
He's had 2 years because he missed his whole rookie year. You guys forget that. He wasn't out a rookie last year.
No, that was his rookie year style.
Because he missed his first year with an injury.
It's fine. It's his rookie year, dude. It's fine.
So, but I'm saying we got to be honest.
But
both of the years he's been hurt.
We're not looking at young guys on this team, and they haven't been young in a long time. I feel.
No,
I feel like they're always this team that has these old guys. But it's. I could if they end up making a run and getting deep into the playoffs and they can see some help. I can see Aaron Donald going, yeah, you know what, give me one more playoff run.
Maybe. Okay, I got to address something Dave said. He said the Super Bowl isn't out of reach. How different is this team from the Super Bowl winning team? No Von Miller, no Aaron Donald, no Jalen Ramsey, right? I think Jalen Ramsey's gone too. But either way, you're two.
Yeah, Ramsey's in Miami.
Yeah, so like. Your three best defensive players are gone. 3 of the best defensive players in the year of the league. And I get it, we don't like Von Miller, but Von Miller was a menace still then in the Super Bowl. So that's quite a difference. I mean, honestly, that's such a big difference, Dave. Like yeah. I can't even begin to explain that. Completely different.
I can't believe that they lost Aaron Donald and don't really have a replacement. And they still got an A grade.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't even mention that the A grade because they did a good job bringing some people in. They'll be okay. They'll be okay, or they could be bad. If Kyron gets hurt, Cooper Kupp gets hurt, Matthew Stafford's always banged up, but he's tough. He plays through. But Stafford's always banged up.
Yeah, he definitely. He's a guy that always battles through injury, and doesn't matter the injury. We know his history with his back problems and everything like that, and his neck problems. But I mean, Stafford. I think he's again Stafford's my boy, and I can't say anything bad about him except that he's old. Right.
No. And he gets hurt, but he plays through. So
right.
Yep. The majority of the time, but it is scary. But I mean, I don't see them like. Maybe I think last year was a figment of our imagination. They got hot, but we also didn't talk about they got a fantastic head coach that I feel is one of the best head coaches in the game. So maybe he can put it all together. But I'm still leaning towards that. Them being in the playoffs last year was a bit of a fluke, but we'll see. I mean, you can't lose Aaron Donald and expect to be better. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he was just a dynamic playmaker, man. Like every play was blown up because of him. And everybody has bad games here and there. But yeah, I don't want to hear it from anybody that's like, "Oh, he was never good all the time." Yeah, he pretty much was.
Pretty much was.
Yeah, he pretty much was.
Yeah, you never heard anyone doubt him winning the Player of the Year and everything.
And he was always very durable. I don't think he missed many games due to injury.
The last couple years he started to.
Sure, but when he's in his 30s.
Yeah, you're definitely right. So, I don't know. I think it's a bit of a fluke, but I know you guys like their weapons. I mean, of course, for this is fantasy football talk, too. Their weapons are good, but healthy. And I did want to bring this up because, I've talked before about Kyron I pushed down because of Blake Horn stealing touchdowns, which is fine. Jay, do you pull up Kyron's stats from last year, please? But another big thing is everyone loves Puka, but I don't have the exact numbers, but like the splits of like what Puka did with and without Cooper Kupp was like 8-point difference. Like when Cooper Kupp didn't play, Puka was getting like 21 fantasy points a game. When Cooper Kupp did play, Puka was getting like 13. So like that's a stark difference.
All right, what do you want from him?
So what were Kyron's stats?
Almost 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns, 32 receptions, 206 yards, 3 receiving touchdowns.
So 15 touchdowns overall. That's an awful lot.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's an awful lot. A great year from the kid. But they drafted Blake Corum. So, like, if he takes away 5 of those, he's still going to have a great season. But I'm not. You cannot walk in to this draft thinking you're going to get 15 touchdowns out of him. Like, you got to pull it back in your expectations. We got to remember, this is a fantasy show, right? So, like, your expectations shouldn't be Kyron getting 15. Maybe 10. Nothing wrong with 10. 15's a lot, though.
No, I mean,
I would definitely be happy saying that Kyron can get 10 touchdowns for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
combined.
Breece Hall had 9 total touchdowns, and he finished second overall. So
exactly. So it's not all, but that's my worry with Kyron. And you just kind of proved it with that Breece Hall. Breece Hall only had 9. He finished second overall. Kyron had 15 and finished, what was it? Second? Was he third?
he was 7th.
He was 7th with 15 touchdowns. So you take away some of those touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like, you need to worry about that a little bit. A lot of his production was generated from touchdowns. And if he loses touchdowns to Blake Corum.
I mean, also, like, Breece had, like, way more reception and receiving yards. So, I mean,
yeah, but this is fantasy. You need to pick the right one accordingly. So it's something to keep in your mind. But we've talked about that. But the big one, like I said, is Puka and Kupp. If Kupp is healthy, dude, Puka's going at the top of the second round. He played great last year, but Kupp was not healthy. You cannot draft Puka in the top of the second round and expect him to do what he did unless Kupp gets hurt. And I truly mean that. If you look at the stats when they played together, it wasn't like Puka was nothing, but there were some games he was nothing.
Yeah.
And then there were some games where he still had a good game. But I'm telling you, I'm ill-prepared, but there's like an 8-point difference in his total points per game with and without Kupp. And that is something that needs to be discussed. And we all liked seeing what Puka did. It was incredible. But Kupp was not healthy for the majority of the season. Dave is saying in the chat, Puka's an ideal keeper, but in redraft, he's going a tad bit too high. And I agree.
Same.
Top of the second round is rough. I mean, who's to say? Guys, just 2 years ago, Cooper Kupp was the greatest wide receiving season ever in the history of the NFL. So why all of a sudden, because a rookie had a really good season last year, are we thinking he's Matt Stafford's number 1? Well, why are we so sure about that?
Well, I don't see Puka as number 1 anyway. While Cooper Kupp is there.
Most people do, though. He's going to the top of the second round.
Well, most people are not savvy in the fantasy football arts. Yeah. And I'm not saying that we are either, but when you have a guy like Cooper Kupp who's been there, that's your number 1 guy. I don't care how old he is. I don't care how hurt he gets. Puka Nacua had a great season last year, right? He came out of nowhere. Nobody expected it from the kid. And if we're talking like an 8-point difference, if he goes from 38 points to 22 points, I'm still taking 22 points from my wide receiver. Right? So I guess if we're talking, it sounds a little worse when you're going from 20 to 12. Right? 12 is a shit number. You don't want 12 points out of your receiver.
Right.
But it's a sophomore season now. It's a tough gauge for anybody in their sophomore season, right? Like look at running backs that have come out and played really well their first season. And then the next year you're like, oh wow, this guy's going to go really high and does nothing.
Right.
Prime example is, Jesus Christ, Najee Harris.
He didn't play in the league.
He didn't. Najee Harris had a great rookie year. He was solid. He also had a better quarterback, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But from year 1 to year 2, his stats were drastically lower in year 2. And maybe you blame quarterback play, but now you have pretty much the same offense. So maybe it's a little different for Puka, but as everybody always says, you get that game film on a guy. We know how to handle him now. It's like, all right, well, so the sophomore year for Puka is really going to be, all right, this guy's going to be good in this league.
Yep.
I think we're all agreeing to say, like, just pump the brakes a little on Puka.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not drafting him in the first round or the second round.
Then you're not drafting him. Like, as we go
Right.
and that's what it is.
If people want to take him, that's fine. I'll gladly take, somebody else in the third round or fourth round even.
I'll tell you, I'm more comfortable, I think, taking Marvin Harrison than Puka right now. But
all right. So are you? So you're more comfortable taking Harrison over Puka Nacua in the same spot that he's going in drafts? So you're saying high second?
No,
you're okay with Harrison?
Maybe. I mean, I didn't do my my rankings yet. Our rankings will be in a month or so. But
sure.
Just thinking about where they're all going. I mean, here's in the top of my head. I mean, I don't got a draft here, but right in the top of the second round, you're getting Puka, you're getting Puka, you're getting Harrison, you're getting Devontae Adams, you're getting Garrett Wilson.
Where's Devonta Smith going?
Later, third round.
I'm much happier taking Devonta Smith over Puka Nacua.
Yeah, so
second round.
I think out of all those guys I just said, Puka's probably the worst one, or Garrett Wilson's the worst one. But Garrett Wilson had a great season with Zach Wilson. So, that's what I'm saying. So,
now he's going to have a better season with healthy Aaron Rodgers because he did his ayahuasca shit and his Achilles is fully healed.
I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers wants to chime in. Well, let's move on to the reigning, defending, conquering NFC champions of the San Francisco 49ers. Their offseason grade here by Bleacher Report was a C+. Interesting. So their key additions are Devondre Campbell, Joshua Dobbs, which I didn't even know, Jordan Elliott from the Buffalo Bills, Leonard Floyd, Ezekiel Turner, Yatur Gross-Matos, defensive lineman, cornerback Rock Yassin. Sounds like a rap name. And then
maybe it is.
Cornerback Isaac Yidam. But I think they had a couple of big losses. What do you got there as losses, Adam? Did you make it?
Yeah, we got Eric Armstead. That's
a loss.
That's a big one. That's a big one. Linebacker Oren Burks, QB Sam Darnold. Key loss there, guys. Key loss.
It's a loss.
Sure. Cleveland. Oh my God, Cleveland Farrell.
Yeah, that's not a loss. That guy's a bust.
Randy Gregory, Javon Kinlaw, Ray McLeod, guard Matt Pryor, and Chase Young.
So losing Chase Young, Eric Armstead, Randy Gregory, Javon Kinlaw, those are some big fucking names on the defensive line.
Right.
Those are some very big names in the defensive line. And there's no guarantee they walk into the season with Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I just saw a headline today. I was watching ESPN, and it said something that he said that, the Niners don't want me back. Okay, buddy.
They have a good 1-2 punch with Floyd and Bosa, though. So, I mean, that's...
Sure.
Do they? Because Floyd was pretty much a nobody because he's gotten older, and then Bills revived his career, and maybe he doesn't settle right in the system, or maybe he does. I mean, they couldn't get Chase Young to be good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I know the Bills are going to miss Leonard Floyd, but I feel like the Bills' system is what made Leonard Floyd. I mean, the guy was a backup defensive end. How old is he? 33, 34? You know what I mean?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Who, Floyd?
Yeah. Floyd's older. So that's what I mean. So it does sound like a good 1-2 punch, but I don't know. They couldn't get it out of Chase Young, who maybe it's Chase Young. Maybe Chase Young is just trash. But it's also losing Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw. That's a lot of depth.
Yeah. He is
31.
Okay, so we were a little older on him, but still.
September 8th, 1992.
So I don't know. It's interesting. Obviously, this is the class of the division, and even if they lose Brandon Ayuk, they're still the class of the division. Then you have to worry about Ricky Pearsall then as fantasy football, but draft all these guys. Purdy's going to be a top 10 quarterback. Christian's probably going to be the number 1 pick. Ayuk and Debo are going to go, I don't know, by the 3rd round. They'll be gone. And
there's no
Kittle's a little
about
interesting
that.
because a lot of pre things I see on Kittle, like people are drafting him as like the 6th tight end. Like that's great value. Getting Kittle as like the not 2nd tight end, getting him as like the 6th or 7th is, I think, great value for Kittle.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Kittle's Kittle, man. He's made of glass. He's gonna miss games. Yeah. It happens. It happens every year. I don't think he's played a full season since he's been in the league.
Yeah.
But when he plays, he's good. So to get him as the 6th tight end off the board, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely taking that value for sure.
But here is something I want to discuss until we move on here. The man has got 2 things going against him. Every year recently, basically, including himself, the guaranteed first overall pick in fantasy football usually gets hurt lately, right? Double J did last year, didn't he?
First overall pick.
Yeah. The couple of years with Christian, he got hurt. Pretty much. So Christian has that going against him. A, B,
and he's a mad superstar.
Yeah. So I mean,
if he is the number 1 pick, I mean, is it a number 1 pick in fantasy that's the curse, really, or is it
That's like the thing. And it's kind of holds true.
Yeah. Is it the Madden?
His play style doesn't do any favors either for his size and everything too. So, I mean,
he's got both. So he's had 2 healthy years in a row after 2 awful years. 2 injured years, and I love him. He led me to the championship the year before. But like now, after these 2 massive seasons, like workload wise, and being on the cover of Madden, like I'm a little scared. Like,
yeah,
I'm a little scared. Like he's still gonna probably be my number. I cannot see myself taking Breece Hall above him. No. I even though as much as I like him, I don't know if I could take Bijan Robinson above him, but I'm afraid that the dude is going to get hurt. But I'm always afraid he's going to get hurt, so that doesn't really affect me because I kind of it's just in my head, and I've been lucky the last 2 years. Where I've had him. So I mean, it is something I wanted to bring up that he's on the cover of Madden, and I know Josh Allen didn't get hurt last year, but didn't he? Right? Didn't he get hurt and then he just played through it?
I believe so.
I guess. Yeah,
with his elbow,
with the elbow or the shoulder or whatever it ended up being. But it's really hard to make that argument when a guy is number 1 in fantasy at his position. So it's great. Was he? Who knows? Because he put up almost 500 points in fantasy.
No,
right?
It's interesting, but he doesn't have the injury history of Christian, and that's the scary part. So, am I scared? Yes. Am I pulling the trigger? Are you pulling the trigger 1-on-1 on Christian? I still might.
If I get the first overall pick and Christian McCaffrey has not been kept by anybody, I'm taking them first overall.
Yeah.
I don't care. You have. But who else are you going to take? CD Lamb? I don't even know if they're going to have Dak Prescott.
I mean, some people would say Lamb. Some people would say.
Sure, you can say Lamb. You can say
Tyreek.
Chase. You can say Tyreek. You can say, even JJ again. Who knows?
Sure.
But
Jay, who are you taking first overall right now?
If I had to say right now, probably Christian.
Yeah, I'm still there too, but just a little scary. All right, let's move on to the Seattle Seahawks. Jay, tell me about their key additions.
Right,
by the way, the Seattle Seahawks are a grade of C for this.
Yes. Linebacker Jerome Baker, linebacker former Buffalo Bill Tyrell Dodson, tackle George Fant, Nick Harrison, Jonathan Hankins, Rashawn Jenkins, and Lincoln Tomlinson.
Okay, and Adam, let's hear about their losses.
Key losses, we got Jordan Brooks, Devin Bush, tight end Will Dissly, Mario Edwards, QB Drew Lock, and linebacker Bobby Wagner.
I mean, obviously Wagner's huge.
Yeah,
By the way, head coach too.
Yeah, and head coach.
Yeah.
Oh,
head coach.
right, yeah. And Pete Carroll was let go.
Now they got Mike McDonald, not Mike McDaniel, not Josh McDaniels. Mike McDonald. That's
Right.
going to be so confusing.
Yes.
I don't think they're that good. And I think Geno was a figment of our imagination. He came back down to earth last year. I think they're running backs, though. I think Geno is a fine spot starter. I played Geno one week when I was in New York City. It was a Monday Night Football, I believe. It was Seattle and Dallas, and those guys were just firing touchdowns back and forth. So Geno will have his moments. I don't think you walk in with Geno as a starter.
I remember that game.
Yeah, those guys were firing, man. I think Jay had DK Metcalf get 3 touchdowns that game?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's there. He has great weapons. I mean, DK I still love. DK is a great wide receiver too. Lockett seems to be taking a step down every year.
Yep.
So is it time for
Lockett
Geno?
Lockett is one of those guys that will. He's a flash guy. He's going to get you 10 points or he's going to get you 25 points.
Yeah.
And the thing that sucks about Tyler Lockett is he's not a big catch guy. He's a long catch guy. Like he's gonna get a pass down the field for 40, 50, 60 yards for a touchdown, but he's gonna have 3 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown, right? Whereas DK is more the possession guy, so you're gonna get 7, 8, 9 catches, but
And the
still
touchdown.
again, and the touchdown. But then you're going to get maybe 60, 70 yards from him too, right? So, but they both have potential to be big players. But yeah, I agree with the wide receiver too. And then, Lockett's a good flex guy.
Now, obviously, we're all saying DK is the one to go for, but are any of you taking JSN, Jackson Smith-Jigba, over Lockett?
Listen.
I think I'm there.
Listen,
Yeah, I would.
I had JSN on one of my fantasy teams, and he played very well towards the end of the season. I believe this is his sophomore year now, right? So
Yes.
again, it's that sophomore receiver. Is he going to take the next step while you still have DK and you still have Tyler Lockett as your 1 and 2 guys? Maybe. Who knows what Mike McDonald is going to do here if they're going to go.
He had a
more.
farm. If you didn't know
He
that.
did have a farm. Yeah.
Dad joke.
Oh yeah, we're canceled. So JSN for me is still a risk, and solely, and it's not because he wasn't playing great, because he was, but it's more that sophomore year. Is he going to be? Can he move up to be the number 2? Can he be a great slot guy? What is the new coach going to do with this offense?
EIEIO.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think, with Lockett being like he could be non-existent for weeks on end.
Sure.
So I think it's worth the risk of going with JSN.
Sure.
Yeah, Adam, rank them then. Where are those 3 going?
DK,
So,
probably.
Yeah, so DK's first, but who's second for you?
I'm still taking Lockett only because he's more established. He's been there. So I'm taking DK, I'm taking Lockett, and then if anything, I'm taking JSN after. Not touching their tight end because I don't even know who the fuck it is.
I think me and
Still
Jay
no
are on the
fan,
opposite
maybe.
end there.
Yeah.
I think me and Jay-
Yeah, and that's fine. We got to have a little controversy on the channel.
So now, by the way, Adam doesn't like rookies, and apparently he doesn't like second-year players either.
No, that's not always true.
That's
I'm
what you
saying
just said, though.
I did not say I didn't like them. I said you have to be weary of them because it's a sophomore year, man. That's just proven fact.
For Adam to like you, you need to have your AARP card like me and Jay.
Yes.
It's just proven fact that, you very rarely do you get a guy that explodes, 2 years in a row. Okay?
Very, very true. All right, we're going to move on to the AFC West. And what better place to start with?
Reigning, defending, undisputed.
Super Bowl champions of the world and the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know they're the Chiefs. They're the Chiefs. They got a C+. Wow, that's interesting. They had a C+. I thought they did better than C+. I do like what they did. Okay, so their big bringing is they brought in Hollywood, Marquise Brown, and they drafted Xavier Worthy. But now they got a number 1 in Marquise Brown and a number 7 in Xavier Worthy. They drafted big Irv Smith. Irv Smith, all the potential in the world, can never put it together. But now he's on an Andy Reid team. So obviously he's not going to outplay Travis Kelce. He's just a name to monitor. And now we know it's over for Patrick Mahomes because they signed Carson Wentz. So
here's my thing with Irv Smith. I like Irv Smith. I think he's got potential, but the Chiefs had 3 tight ends that all got involved in games, and I don't know if you see this, but they're still on the team. So
yep, you're right. It's just someone to monitor. He's not draftable.
Sure, not draftable. I mean, don't even bother. I wouldn't even bother.
No, he's only going to become relevant if like Kelce gets hurt.
You're looking for a Kelce injury that's bad, right?
Yeah. Obviously, Kelsey's going to be the number 1 or 2 tight end, and I'm perfectly still comfortable with him there. Patrick Mahomes, though, you guys were higher on him last year than me. I turned out to be right as of last year. So where are we
here we go.
This year? Where do you guys feel off the top of your head where Patrick Mahomes is this year? Because for me, I'm still putting him down at like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that.
I'm fine
probably around there.
Yeah, I mean, you're putting Allen, you're putting Hurts, there's and then he could be there at 3, but I'm putting the reigning MVP Lamar Jackson above him. What about Burrow? So maybe he's at 5, 4 or 5 for me when I do my rankings. But like, I'm also big on Anthony Richardson. So who knows? I mean, Anthony Richardson could sneak above him just because of his running, but. So we, rankings are coming down the line, but none of us are saying he's a 1 or 2, right?
Yeah.
I think we're all pretty much taking Josh or Hurts above him.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably taking. I mean, you're definitely taking Josh. You're definitely taking Hurts. I mean, now you're probably taking Lamar.
Yeah.
But it's Mahomes, man. We know what he can do.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm betting against Mahomes, man.
I'm taking Mahomes over Burrow. I will. Yeah,
I would definitely do that. If we're talking Burrow, Mahomes, I'm taking Mahomes for sure.
Some people might not, but I am, especially because Burrow.
Is that a shot at Dave or?
Just the Burrow stance in general. Like Guy has been hurt every year but 1 year. Like we're not talking about them though. So I mean, there is safety in Mahomes to an extent, but he's not going to be your number 1 or 2. And Pacheco's there. He's not sexy, but he's fine. You could do worse, but I don't love him. I'm probably going to have him lower in my rankings than most people because he's just not sexy.
Pacheco? Yeah. He runs like a freaking wild man, though.
He is less sexy than Joe Mixon. Jay, how is that possible?
That's
So
wild.
are you telling me that you would take Joe Mixon over Isaiah Pacheco?
I was referring to as like Joe Mixon on the Bengals, 100%. But like Joe Mixon on the Texans, no, probably not. Because but Joe Mixon's been a top 6 running back every fucking year. So who's to say he's not going to do it again?
Yep, he was exactly 6 last year, and Pacheco
was 15. We make fun of the Bengals for being is boring.
And I feel like even Pacheco's less sexier. So like I said, I don't have my numbers in front of me, my rankings yet or anything, but I just feel like I'm gonna be lower on Pacheco. Like I'm gonna have him I think he's going in mock drafts like in the end of the second round. There's no way I would be excited starting my draft, say with Tyreek Hill and then Pacheco. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I just could. I would not be excited. So maybe he's more of a for me.
I'm definitely not excited to take Pacheco as my running back 1.
Yeah, exactly. I think
but as my running back 2, that's a different story.
Yeah, but there's quantification for that. What I mean by that is like you saying it. So saying the same thing, like me taking Tyreek Hill and then and then Pacheco in the beginning of the late second round, it's the same kin of you taking Christian McCaffrey and then Pacheco in the second round. He's not a second round pick to me. But maybe I'll
just basing it on what round you want to take him in. Like, are you happy with taking Pacheco in the third round? Like, we'll drop him one round. Same spot.
I mean, maybe. It just depends. I haven't done my rankings yet. When I just think of Pacheco, I don't get excited. I don't want him on my team. I don't, not want him on my team, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, have disregard for the kid, but, I don't sit there and think, oh, I better fucking nail Isaiah Pacheco at the 2-3 turn. Like, no. He'll probably not be on if he's going to the 2-3 turn, he's not going to be on any of my teams. It's just too much of a reach. But, I mean, he's going to get the touchdowns and stuff. So, but the big thing we need to talk about is their receivers. It's a messy situation with Rashee Rice, bringing in Xavier Worthy and bringing in Hollywood Brown. So, Jay, top of your head, rank those 3 receivers.
Between Rice, Xavier, and Brown.
Yep. What's up, Rico, in the chat? What's up, dog?
Oh, boy.
I mean,
probably Brown. And then...
Well, since you said Brown, I just want to... That's not what I think about Brown, but it just kind of made sense.
Yeah. I don't know. We don't even know if Rice is going to be there, so...
How about this? Rice plays the whole season, which is not going to happen.
It's Brown, Rice, Worthy.
Yeah.
If you're going in that order.
Yeah.
I mean, Hollywood is their number 1. Rice is going to be their number 2, and Worthy might not even play.
So is that the same if Rice doesn't get suspended?
If Rice gets suspended, I'm still
if he doesn't, I'm saying. If Rice plays 17 games.
Right, if he doesn't...
Yeah, if he does play 17 games, he's going to be...
It's Brown, Rice, Worthy.
You're still going... Okay, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
All right, I'm with you.
Yeah. If Rice gets suspended, which he should...
I mean, him and 4 other Kansas City Chiefs have all gotten enough off-field fucking trouble so far in the last 2 months. So
right.
And I think they're gonna win the division, but we'll talk about the other teams here. They're gonna win the division. Spoiler alert. Moving on to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Chazz's team.
For all you don't know, this is my second team. I'm a Bills fan. Raiders are always my second team. They have their key additions: Christian Wilkins, Gardner Minshew, the President of the United States, Alexander Madison, Harrison Bryant. I didn't even know they brought in Harrison Bryant. That's fucking wild. And we'll explain in a minute. Christian Wilkins a huge signing for them. Gardner Minshew's a huge signing for them because if AR's not ready or get hurts again, that's great. Gardner Minshew, guys, is better than Jimmy Garoppolo, right?
Yeah.
So they upgraded. So, Adam, why don't you tell me about what they lost?
Key losses, Josh Jacobs, big one there. Greg Van Rooten, Jermaine. What are you doing?
Who?
Jermaine Ulam, whatever the fuck that guy's name is. Emick Robertson, Belial Nichols, Austin Hooper, and Jerry Tillery.
Yeah. So
my buddy was dancing in the doorway.
Oh, you're talking. So they actually got a B+ for their offseason, and I get it because, Christian Wilkins is a huge signing, one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league. Gardner Minshew's a huge upgrade. Gardner Minshew's a huge upgrade over Jimmy G, and he's a perfect. Gardner Minshew is the best backup quarterback in the league. Look what he did with AR last year. I was just saying that. I mentioned AR. You know what I mean? But I was saying it as a past tense. So he came in for AR, and that team was I don't remember their exact record, but they were 500 with him. And Gardner Minshew, you're right, he might start over Aiden O'Connell. And the President of the United States, Alexander Madison, I mean, with what's his name, Zamir White. I don't know. That seems messy.
Sure, yeah. Zamir White had good games. Came in relief of Josh Jacobs, and people were starting to pick him up off free agent lists and waiver wires and all that kind of stuff. And but I mean, losing Josh Jacobs, you're downgrading with Alexander Madison.
Oh, for sure.
Big
What's
time.
funny too is like you lose one of the best running backs, but your remaining team needs, and it doesn't even mention a running back. Like Alexander Madison is going to make up for losing one of the best running backs in the league.
That's kind of my thought process too.
Yeah, and Zamir White, you know. But remember, there's addition by subtraction of Josh McDaniels being gone. So Antonio Pierce had those guys raring to go towards the end of the season. So talking about their assets, if Gardner Minshew ends up being the starter, he's not a starter, but plug him in for injuries. Those two running backs, I think Zamir White's the one you look for. Yeah. Zamir White is your perfect situation of a zero RB guy, kind of like Rachaad White was last year. You know, Rachaad White went in like the 6th or 7th round. He finished top 10 or something. So I think there's a chance, you know, Zamir White could play really well just because he has that job to himself. Madison isn't a threat.
No, I agree. So, and that was kind of what I was saying. Like, you downgraded so much. And 100%. To Jay's point, you don't even mention it as a remaining team need? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he could be And then receiver-wise, they have obviously Devontae Adams, who's a stud, but you're getting old, getting on the downside. I'm drawing a blank. What's the receiver's name? Myers, Jacoby Myers. Great slot guy. And then they have 2 awesome tight ends, Baby Gronk, and they drafted Brock Bowers, right? So, you know, I was reading this article today that how this guy believes 2 tight end sets are making a comeback in the NFL. And they mentioned the Raiders with Baby Gronk and him, but think about the Bills with Kincaid and Knox. Think about the Packers with Croft and Musgrave. They run those guys out there a lot. So it was this one football analyst seeing that like 2 tight end sets are starting to make a comeback with all these newer athletic tight ends. So it's something interesting to keep an eye out in the future of the NFL. But when it comes to those 2 tight ends, you're drafting Bowers. I mean, who cares about Michael Mayer? Like, good, he's fine, but Bowers is like an incredible prospect, and you're not drafting him You're not drafting him in the top 8 picks. He's probably going to be like your 10th, 11th, 12th tight end. And by that point, you're shooting in the air anyway. So
yeah, I mean, you can't take Michael Mayers over Brock Bowers.
No, you can't.
You just can't. And I do agree with you that, you know, I think teams are trying to get back to that 2 tight end thing, and I mean, you hate to mention it, but the Patriots did it for years, and it worked.
Yep.
Very, very well.
And then one of them killed a guy.
Yeah, he killed a guy. Maybe 2 guys.
That's true. And himself. Well, technically he did. Then, if you think about it. Oh, too soon? Oh, boy.
Hopefully his wife's not going to come after us.
Wait a minute. Wait for it. Oh, canceled.
Burn.
Cancel.
Yeah, we're definitely canceled after that one. We might have to edit that out.
Yeah, for sure.
Nah, bro.
I mean, I love a good 2 tight end set, man. I mean, yeah, it was powerful back in the day, and hopefully we see it again. But Michael Mayers and Brock Bowers is a good start.
Hell yeah! So as much as I like the Raiders and stuff, I just don't see them. They don't have the quarterback. As much as we make fun of Derek Carr, he's better than anything they got right now. If they would have still had him, I would have been more excited if they still had him. But they don't. They don't have Josh Jacobs anymore. Devontae Adams is still great, but it seems like he's starting to fade a little bit of being like fine, incredible, fine. You know, right. So like that's where I am on them. The only person I'd be excited with other than Adams, I'd be excited for Zamir White, and just to keep your eyeball on Bowers, right? And that's it for me.
Sure.
So, all right, Jay, we're going to move into your second favorite team.
Yep.
Oh, which one is it?
It's going to be the Chargers. This is a team, and that's why I'm moving on, Adam, because this is a way more interesting team.
That's fine. This is way more interesting. All I was going to say is I agree with you.
Okay, so their biggest addition, without a shadow of doubt, is the head coach Jim Harbaugh. Major upgrade over Brandon Staley. Jesus,
dude. I don't know what Brandon Staley's problem was, but man,
He can't coach is the problem.
Did he fuck that up?
He was
100%.
Garbage defensive court. I hate defensive head coaches, but Harbaugh is one. But Harbaugh is different. You know, Harbaugh has got like success. Even though Harbaugh's like a defensive head coach,
he has success in the league,
and he's a defensive head coach, but he's a fucking former quarterback. Like, this is different. You know. So, all right, Jay, what did your boys do? What is some of their key additions?
Key additions: running back Gus Edwards. Tight end Hayden Hurst, center Bradley Bozeman, linebacker Denzel Perryman, CB Christian Fulton, and tight end Will Dissly.
Him bringing in 2 tight ends and Gus Edwards, a big back. Guys, he is changing the culture of this team already.
Gus Edwards is probably going to play like 2 games, though.
Right, but if you just look at that, he is building a running team. What did they take in the first round? An offensive lineman. Like... It's turning. By the way, Hayden Hurst is a guy I've always liked, and him being there in the Chargers, they've always needed a tight end guy, and now they got him. So he's someone I'm definitely excited on. But Adam, I don't think what they added gains to what they lost.
Oh my God, no, not even close. What they lost, oh my God, key losses. Running back Austin Eckler, Dave's boy. I know he's listening. His favorite running back in the league. Keenan Allen. Chazz's favorite wide receiver in the league.
One of them.
Mike Williams, linebacker Kenneth Murray, Eric Kendricks, Will Clapp, Austin Johnson, and tight end Gerald Everett.
So I think going from Everett to Hayden Hurst, it's equal. I mean, I think Hurst is better.
Equal. Yeah, I think Hurst is a little bit.
But Everett was fine. You can't replace those receivers. And as much as we give him shit, you can't replace that running back. I mean, he was shit last year, but he still was productive catching the ball and everything. You cannot put Gus Edwards, and by the way, it didn't mention they also signed
J.K. Dobbins.
J.K.
Dobbins, yeah. I don't know why they don't mention that.
Because it was probably made before, because he was a late signing.
That's true.
You cannot replace Austin Eckler like that. So, like, to me, they're building this team up to pound the ball with Gus Edwards. And 2 tight ends, I mean... Quentin Johnston, the slot guy of Lad McConkey they drafted, great fit, but he's not like a burner guy. So I think they're taking the verticality out of this offense.
Their current starting offense from this year to last year is a major downgrade. So currently, if everything stays the way it is, it's Herbert, Gus Edwards. By the way, Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins both have injuries right now. Josh Palmer...
Yeah.
Quentin Johnson, Lad McConkey, and Will Dissly.
So I still think that Hayden Hurst is going to be their starter. But, like, yeah, you're right. It's a major downgrade, and it's going to be a running team because, like, and we still love Herbert here. He is not – I'm telling you right now, he's not a top 10 fantasy quarterback for me. Period. He's not. Not with these weapons.
The team that he has now – I agree with that.
Yeah, you can't.
I don't think he's going to be as bad as like 20, but
he's probably about 15 in my rankings off the top of my head.
Yeah, I was thinking more like 13. Yeah,
he's tough, and like not only do we talk about Jim Harbaugh being the head coach, guys, their offensive coordinators, Greg Roman. What is he known for?
Right,
pounding the ball, running the ball.
Yeah, then. Guess what? 2 running backs that he had in the Greg Roman offense in Baltimore.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, they got a B- for their offseason.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's probably because they freed up $30 million in cap for.
You are right. They
I guess
they did. I do like their additions. Perriman's great. Hurst is great. Edwards is a good addition, especially for that team.
If he stays healthy.
I didn't hate Gus Edwards, man. I mean,
he's a great addition for that team. It's just
I actually had to start him in one of my leagues because I traded away all my starters for draft picks for next year because I was in dead last. I think week like 9. So I was like, "There's no way I could come back." So I just unloaded everything and I had Gus Edwards.
It was pretty good last year.
I actually ended up winning like 4 games.
Yeah. pretty good last year. So we got one left team to talk about. They're so boring that we missed them. We skipped them. We got to go back up.
Do we actually?
Yeah.
Way to go, Chaz.
It's the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, the Denver Broncos. Actually forgot about them, too.
So they're big additions. They're big additions. Cody Barton, linebacker. Josh Reynolds, receiver, who always finds his way on a team. Calvin Throckmorton. That's a name. I like that name. Calvin Throckmorton, the guard. Safety Brandon Jones and defensive tackle Malcolm Roach. But, Adam, what are their losses?
He lost it. Russell Westbrook Wilson.
Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited. Big Booty, Jerry Jeudy. Lloyd Cushenberry the third.
Another great name.
Absolutely. Justin Simmons, Josie Jewell, Jonathan Harris, and tight end Chris Manhurt.
So just losing Justin Simmons is enormous. Did they end up re-signing him, though? For some reason in my head, I think they re-signed him.
Let me look right now.
Or maybe he didn't. Or he's not signed yet.
No, he's not on their depth chart.
He's not signed yet. Okay, maybe they were just talking to him, but he's one of the best safeties in the league. Losing Russell Wilson, as much as we make fun of him, he played pretty well last year.
He had a good year last year.
It's a downgrade. And they're still paying
Bo Nix.
They're still paying
shit.
But Bo Nix, that's your guy now. Bo Nix and Troy Franklin and Cortland Sutton, and guys, we forget about one player, Sean Payton. Not player, coach Sean Payton. Man, he can throw shit together. He's got a second year now. He's starting to get his players. What I'm going to say about and don't forget they have Devontae Williams. They have Greg Dulcich. It's not like they're in the depths of despair. Sean Payton has done well with a lot worse talent. And we even said on the AFC show that, we can see the similarities of Bo Nix and Drew Brees. It's not that far-fetched that he could be very good. So I think this team could – I think if anyone could, surprisingly make the playoffs out of all the teams we talked about, it's this team, as awful as they are. I'm not saying it, but they would be the team.
Yeah, I agree. And it's really just based on Sean Payton and what he can do with developing a young quarterback. And we know what he can do with young quarterbacks. He did wonders with young Drew Brees, right? And they ended up winning a Super Bowl in 2009. Little controversy with Peyton and they're thrown in the mix, but that didn't stop him from being a great coach, right? If anybody can do it, it's him. He's a fantastic head coach. So I would say the Broncos are definitely a sleeper team this year that you can look out for. Maybe that leaves the question too for fantasy owners. Where do you draft Cortland Sutton? Where do you draft Javonte Williams?
That was going to be my question. Javonte Williams. Now, he's somebody that I have on our Fantasy Football Bros League who I could keep. I could keep in the 6th or 7th round, but I kind of feel like that's where he's going.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, there's no excitement for him anymore, and I think he's almost a sleeper because he's a very good running back who was coming back from an ACL tear last year and took forever to get going, and by the end of the year, he got going a little bit, and the season was over. So, I think people are sleeping on Javonte a bit, but I don't know if he's even in consideration for me to keep in, the 6th or 7th round because you're not going to keep a player there because you could hopefully just draft him there. There's no value there. So I think people are sleeping on Javonte. I think people are sleeping on Greg Dulcich. I think same thing. Greg Dulcich coming off an injury last year, injured last year, missed most of the season. I think people forgot about him a bit. So I think he could be primed for a comeback. And Sutton, I don't know. Nobody likes Sutton on this show.
No.
Although
we don't know. We don't even know.
We really don't like the Broncos on this show.
Yeah,
Sutton had 10 touchdowns last year, guys. Cortland Sutton had 10 touchdowns last year.
No, I agree, and that's what I was saying. Is Cortland Sutton is not, he's not a bad receiver.
No, but we also don't know who's going to be their QB. So I mean,
Bo Nix or who? Who else did they sign?
Right now,
Zach Wilson.
They got Stidham, Bo Nix, and Zach Wilson, and right now Stidham's the starter.
It's Bo Nix.
Is that who they list on the depth chart? There's no way they list Stidham as number 1.
Yep.
Well, he's the only one that's been there, right? I don't think it's his first year there.
No, it's not. It's his second, I believe.
So he's gonna be like, well, we're gonna go in and have a competition.
Well, sure, it's gonna be a QB competition.
But one of those other
two. They drafted Bo Nix.
Yeah. Well, and as much as we hate Zach Wilson, he's a more talented quarterback than Jared Stidham. Like it's,
sure.
Yeah, Stidham is not.
I'll give you that one all day.
Maybe he does start, but I don't know.
I don't.
I think this is his first year as a Bronco, because last year he was with the Raiders, wasn't he?
The year before he was with the Raiders.
Let's see.
I know for sure the year before he was with the Raiders. So he could have been last year, but they started O'Connell and Jimmy G this last year. But maybe you're right. Maybe they did. And if that's the case, putting Stidham as your number 1 is just coach speak for who knows what.
Yeah, actually, Jay, you are right. He was with Vegas last year. Yeah. And he played 5 games.
He did play 5. Okay, so I was mixing up the 2 seasons. So, pretty safe to say we're probably all in agreement, right? That it's going to be a repeat winners from both divisions.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to bet against both of those teams, right?
Chiefs and the Niners, the best quarterbacks, and I mean, Adam likes to defend Brock Purdy, but I mean, if I said that Brock Purdy's not as good as Matt Stafford, you would be on my side. So,
well, I mean, to be fair, you shit on Brock Purdy all year long and said he was trash.
I still don't think he's incredible. I mean, he's wowed me a couple times. He did. I give him his flowers when they're due. So he did throw some good passes. Couldn't win the big one though, unfortunately.
Jay, you taking Purdy or Love?
I don't know.
I knew Chazz was going to ask this because he loves Jordan Love.
Oh, yeah. Well, now I'm deaf, but I mean, they're basically the same QB, so I mean, I don't really care. I don't have a preference over either one.
But Purdy has way better weapons.
Yeah,
right.
Yes.
And Love had a better season than him last year. So this is fantasy. He better by they were close. I mean, better by
he threw one more touchdown than Purdy. Right. So, I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. So Purdy has all these Pro Bowl weapons. Jordan Love has what we all
the 49ers also have CMC, so they actually have a running game. Green Bay's running was kind of last year.
But that's given me props for Love, that Love now in his second year starting could take another step forward. He's making he made these not known, talent receivers and everything look good. So that's what I mean. It's that was a perfect comparison, Jay, because you're right. It's
you're absolutely right. They're virtually
they're so different. It's like Brock Purdy, the 7th round pick. Did you guys know he was the last pick of the draft?
Yeah.
Brock Purdy? I had no idea.
Okay. He was the last pick of the draft.
Kidding.
But they're so where it's they're so different and similar where it's like Brock Purdy, last pick of the draft, all Pro Bowl weapons, has a very good season. Jordan Love, 1st round pick, sits behind Aaron Rodgers, come into the season with all these dog shit weapons we don't even know of, has a really good fucking season. Right. So they're like 2 dichotomies of each other.
Sure. Check this out. Jordan Love, 4,159 yards, right? 4,159 yards, 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Brock Purdy's stats last year: 4,280 yards, 31 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
Yeah.
Completion percentage for Purdy is 69.4.
Very nice.
Love was 64.2.
Okay.
So very, very similar stats. And you're right.
Yeah.
With Love having lesser weapons than Brock Purdy did. So, I mean, does Does having better weapons make you a worse quarterback than having a quarterback with no weapons?
It's an interesting discussion. They finished that similar, with the difference of weapons. But people were calling. You remember Brock Purdy to be in the MVP conversation, but why weren't they calling Jordan Love?
Because Aaron Rodgers called him and said, "Don't make it Jordan Love."
Yeah,
you're probably right. So I think people are still sleeping on Love a little bit. He could take another step up, right? I don't know. They're interesting. They're going to be around the rankings for me. So, but that's going to be in about a month. We'll start hitting our rankings because next week we're going to go ahead and do the AFC and NFC North.
Ooh,
so
the North.
So we're going to do the North Division, guys. Get
Can't
ready
wait
for
to shit
that.
on Lamar Jackson.
Speaking of Jordan Love, we're going to go to the North. And this is an interesting one. I hope Dave makes it for this one because Dave was big on on the Bengals this year, and we know he's very sensitive and he holds grudges. And I wonder if he's still gonna like the Bengals. What did Dave? We haven't talked about the chat in a while. James called Brock Purdy a game manager, and then Dave says that
Bro gets a free pass.
He says Bro gets a free pass, but he says the thing is Love has a better chance to improve. He's crap in the first quarter. Purdy's Purdy always. Love has more upside. That's a very good way to put it, Dave. I agree. Yep. Love has the chance to be Aaron Rodgers. Love has a chance to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league with whoever. He has that chance. So he has that upside. So very nice. Well, that brings it to a close, boys. Again, you reserve the right to change your picks, for the divisions when we get to our official show. But I don't think any of us will be.
Probably not
those picks.
No, I'm probably not. I'll tell you right now.
I mean, if I had to,
the 49ers.
Yeah, if I had to say, though, I think the NFC West probably has a better chance of changing the number one than...
With who? The Rams? The Rams?
Yeah, the Rams probably.
Their defense is going to be awesome.
Can Arizona come out of nowhere with Marvin Harrison and healthy Kyler Murray?
Sure. I could see Arizona being better. Than the Rams. But I don't know about the Niners. But the Niners could all be, in slings also.
Right. Yeah.
So you never know. But I could, as much as, we had the Rams make the playoffs last year. I said it could be a bit of a fluke. So if Kyler Murray comes out hot, guys, just 2 years ago, didn't Kyler Murray and the Cardinals start 9-0 or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. So he's got it in him. We give him a hard time.
Yeah.
He's got it.
We give him a hard time because he's 5'5" and loves Call of Duty.
Yeah,
but
just like us.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, and then of course AFC is the Chiefs. But I mean, I said it. I think the Broncos could surprise people. I'm not calling them to win a division, but the Broncos stomped out the Bills last year, right? So,
I mean, I wouldn't say stomped out. Right?
No,
they only beat us by 3.
And it was bad coaching, but Sean McDermott, bad coaching. They kind of go hand in hand. So, but we'll get to that another time. All right, Adam, I think you sounded good. Let us know in the comments below how Adam sounded today with his new mic. I think he sounded good.
New mic, yeah. Trying something new here.
Let me know in the chat, guys, if you like my wallpaper, because it's staying for now anyway. Jay, thank you for joining us, my friend. Everybody in the chat. Yeah, everybody in the chat, thanks for chatting. We're going to be doing this Wednesday nights at about 10 o'clock on the Chazz Cast on Twitch. And until then, guys, we'll see you next time. Peace.
Later, guys.
See ya.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.